Yes! Welcome yet again to our PCS Impact Q&A. I am your host, MJ Boyce. I'm the Director of Community Outreach of PCS Grades. Boom! With me, as always, is the lovely Megan Harless, our resident PCS Reform Advocate, and oh, by the way, resident BA, censored for little ears in your room because we love you. We've got a great show for you today. We've got Bessa Pinchatti from the National Military Family Association, and we're so excited to do this kind of resource roundup because she is so knowledgeable. By the way, P.S., pause for effect. She's also my former colleague and former boss because I love the National Military Family Association. Still volunteer, by the way. Anyways, before we get to that special guest, before we get to Megan's DoD updates, we're going to go through those housekeeping items as we do every week. Here we go. All right. First and foremost, we bring the experts to you. We have the answers. If we don't have the answers, guess what? We know who does. And if we don't know either of those things, we're going to take your questions for action, and we're going to get back to you with an answer. Speaking of questions, comments, concerns, any of that, guess what? You put them in the comments section. And when you do that, you are entered to win some awesome prizes. Today, we're going to be giving away a pretty awesome inbox subscription from Operation Purple from the National Military Family Association. Thank you very much. And so one family will be awarded that. And of course, we've got our Hope Design Blingy Bling Bling. So engage, comments, questions, concerns, shout outs, LOL smiley faces are absolutely encouraged, but they're not going to count towards an entry to win. Mwah. Okay, so yes, next up, we bring those experts to you from Transcom, the National Military Family Association, employment advocates, and education experts. We bring them to you because they also have the answers, right? Sometimes your military family is going to be in a specific situation where you would want to use one of the two forever and always resources. Number one, your local chain of command. Number two, your local transportation office. Those are the people who know you. Those are the people who are dealing with your stuff. Those are the people who can help take your issues and actually further them for action. We also, I'm adding on to our housekeeping items, people, because guess what? We have a contest going on the PCS Grades page. So between now, like 6 p.m. tonight, and Sunday, the 21st, you have the chance to win a $45 Amazon card. How? We want you to post a picture in the thread of that post, right? The most creative PCS announcement, okay? Like, how do you announce to your family when you're PCSing? I'm going to pull up a little image here. I'm going to share my screen. Please forgive my brain. You all know me. You're not new here. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you an idea of what you might want to do for an announcement. This is from our social media director, Jenna, and this is Jenna's kiddos. So cute. And this was one of their ideas, their PCS announcement. Isn't that adorable? I mean, I can't even. Oh my gosh, right? So here's just one idea. How do you announce a PCS? How do you tell peeps you're moving, whether it's your friends or family or your fellow MilFams? All right, we're going to stop sharing. All right. And then, of course, as always, thank you, Stacy. As always, last but certainly not least, we've got to continue to do our part, people. We've got to do our part. We have got to flatten that curve. Wear a mask, social distance, whatever it takes to flatten that curve. Because when we flatten that curve, we're going to flatten Murphy with it. Do you hear us, Murphy? We are coming for you. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Megan for them DoD updates. Megan?
Hey, everybody. So just a few things today. First, as many of us know, Texas is a little frozen right now under some snow and under some ice. We are currently here in East Texas as well. So that kind of leads into our update today. So when it's, talking about inconvenience claims here, if an RDD is missed, if service dates have to be shifted and everything due to things that are outside of the TSP's control, such as things that are considered an act of God, such as our natural disasters, our weather, things also under their control, customs delays at the ports, things like that, does not necessarily make you eligible for an inconvenience claim if your RDD is missed. So as Much of Texas right now, parts of Louisiana, some other parts of the South are currently frozen. There are delays in shipments moving from A to B. There might be delays in receiving your shipment. There might be RDDs missed. So it's important to know, the reasons why your shipment might be missed for the RDD, and if that makes you eligible for an inconvenience claim or not. So we're going to drop in the comments below the information about inconvenience claims. So you've got the language, you've got the wording, you can go there, you can look it up, find out how it pertains to you. That way you know what you need to do for filing your inconvenience claim. But it's important to know that, with the snowstorm that we've received overnight, Sunday into Monday, and the snow that is currently happening again today, that, you need to call your TSP, your move coordinator, get an update about your shipment and see where you're going to fall in line with that as well. So you got questions about that, don't hesitate, reach out, let us know. We're happy to help connect you if need be, but we're going to put all that information in the comments below. And that's all I've got today, as we're all trying to thaw out and stay warm here. I'll send it back to you, MJ.
Awesome. Thank you for those updates. And just for the record, again, everyone, Megan goes down that policy rabbit hole so that we don't have to, right? She breaks it down into digestible pieces for the peeps like me. All right, so on to our guest. I'd like to introduce you to Bessa Pinchatti from the National Military Family Association. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself. By the way, Marine veteran spouse, Ura, Yakil Semper Fi in the house. All right.
Go, Army.
Go ahead, Bessa.
Do I have to do another Ura? First of all, MJ, I so miss your energy. This is the most exciting lunch I've had in a really long time. Yay, COVID. But I'm so excited to be here with you and with Megan and with all of you here on PCS Grades. And thanks for the opportunity to tell everyone a little bit more about the National Military Family Association. We've been around for more than 50 years, and I don't know how much everyone knows about the nonprofit space, and for military families especially, that's a really, really long time. We started during the Vietnam War era, and a group of military spouses were sitting around the kitchen table, and they were really upset about the way that their friends were being treated whose loved ones, whose service members were killed in Vietnam. And so what they did is they got on their white gloves and they marched up to Capitol Hill and they went door to door talking to legislators and saying something needs to change. We need to take better care of military spouses. And that's when the National Military Association was born. Started in advocacy, and now the organization does so much more. We have awesome programs, and we definitely still continue to advocate for the issues that are most important to military families on Capitol Hill.
Word. Well, welcome to
Thank
the
you.
Shenanigans Show. To the Shenanigans Show, aka PCS Grades, PCS Q&A. All right, so I already know. I'm just going to dive right in. I already know a whole heck of a lot about National Military Family Association, but I want you to tell our audience a little bit. What? I mean, you touched on it a little. What is NMFA? What is it?
Well, NMFA, we're a nonprofit, first of all, and we spend all of our time doing everything we can to support military families through every single stage of military life. That's from the minute a family joins the military all the way through retirement. And we provide different types of support along the way. Like I said before, advocacy, a huge, huge part of what we do. In fact, that one issue that I talked about that started way back in 1969, we just this past year were able to celebrate the axing of the widow's tax. And that's something you may have heard about through other partners that we work with, like TAPS. That was something that, change, as we see on Capitol Hill, can take a really long time. And that's one of the things that I really love about working here, is that persistence and that get it done attitude, like not giving up until it gets done. And that's something that we've been really, really proud of.
As you should be.
So again, you touched on it a little bit there. We know that NMFA does a lot of advocating with our members of Congress and with the services on a variety of different topics. So what kind of things does NMFA advocate for? And can you give us, besides the widow tax piece, can you give us another example of something that NMFA was a part of advocating for that then was changed because of NMFA's involvement in it?
Yeah, sure. There's so many different things, but one of the things that, as MJ mentioned, she still volunteers with us. And one of the things that we were both really passionate about was something that got passed just a couple of years ago. And it was that before this, families who had a critically ill child could only either get hospice care or curative care, and you couldn't get both. And, I have kids, you all have kids. That's not how kid health works. It's not the same as when an adult goes to hospice. And so NMFA and some of our partners continue to fight for kids to have access to both. And that is now something that you can have because kids need that curative care and they also need to feel comfortable. So that was a really big deal that we're very proud of. There are other things that we're advocating for all the time. Spouse licensure and certification. Military spouses know moving across state lines all the time and what that does to your career. That's something that we're also continuing to fight for. Other things that military families are dealing with are food insecurity, and we're advocating for a lot of different solutions that could help families with that, including a basic needs allowance. And I can go on because there are a lot of things, and it's really all based on what families are telling us. And I know that you've already made a plug for the comments, but I'm going to make another one because several of my NMFA friends and colleagues are in the comment section right now on PCS grades to help answer any questions that you may have. And also we want to hear your stories.
Love it. One team, one fight.
That's right.
Yes. Sorry. Way too much coffee today, y'all. Way too much.
Never too much coffee. Never.
Okay. So let's talk Operation Purple. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how this can how it's beneficial to our military kids or kids who might be preparing for that PCS? For example,
Absolutely.
Giving them that opportunity to connect with other military kids, et cetera, et cetera. So tell us about Operation Purple.
For sure. A lot of times people hear about Operation Purple before anything else because it makes such a huge impact on so many kids. Also with families, because there are a few different components of Operation Purple. There's camps, which that is a time away for free for military kids to be around other military kids. And we host those camps all around the country. We also have family retreats for military families who are trying to reconnect after a deployment. And then there are specific retreats that are for families of the wounded, ill, or injured. So there's a few different opportunities. And when we're not in COVID times, those opportunities are all around the country. In 2020, we had to really rethink how we were doing everything, just like the rest of the world. And we created our first ever Operation Purple at Home, where we brought camp into your home. And actually, MJ was talking earlier about this giveaway that we have, which is the Camp in a Box. So there are a couple different things with Operation Purple at Home. One is this box that you get at your house with everything you need for camp. And it's a subscription. So you get things month after month. And the goal of Operation Purple is to get you out into nature, connecting with your family, connecting with your community. And so we had more than 1,800 military families join us for Operation Purple at Home last year. And this year we're looking at, we're following just like everyone else, what's going on with COVID. Are we flattening that curve? Everything that MJ was talking about at the beginning. But our hope, as long as things continue to go on track, is that up and through until July, things will only be online. But after July, we are hoping to serve military kids at campsites around the country. So please stay tuned and follow us on NMFA and check out our website and make sure that you're totally up to date. And I know MJ will share on here as well.
No, absolutely. And we're definitely going to be going in to our awesome content editor, Lizanne Lightfoot. She transcribes this. She puts it in a blog form, and all of those links that Bessa just mentioned are going to be all up in that. And just to give you a little bit of perspective about this kind of camp in a box that we're giving away today. Remember, keep it coming. I'm going to show you kind of an example of what's up in here. Do you see this? Look at all of this. You get a backpack, you get a book, look at that, like all these little tools to get people outside, to get the family outside. Cause I mean, COVID.
That's what we need. Really?
Okay, from a parent's perspective, let's just go ahead and rip that Band-Aid off. Mm-hmm. Yes, we need to go outside. Maybe not right this second due to the snow, but you know what I'm saying.
a hat on. You're good to go. Go outside, please. No, I really do think that military kids and all of us really could use that sunlight, that fresh air. And this is just a way to encourage it. The families were so engaged. I mean, there's nothing mandatory about this, but people showed up day after day after day for 5 days straight to participate in all of these activities. And it was really fun because we had a lot of friends of military families too. We had Brad Kozlowski, who is a NASCAR champion. He was there. We had Kyle Palmieri, hockey player. We had so many people coming and talking to military families during this week of camp. It was really special. And we did this with our partners at Wounded Warrior Project. So it was exciting for everyone. We can't wait to do it again, both in person and online.
So really quick to an add-on question, and Monica actually has it in the comments. The same thing I was thinking really quick. Who's eligible for Operation Purple? For the kids' camps, the family retreats, is there a criteria in there a family needs to meet or an age limit for children?
So I'm going to let my colleagues get into a little more details, and I'll put a link in the comments. But generally speaking, it is for active duty military kids. The camps are, although the retreats and especially the healing adventures are also for veteran families. But they're going to pop a link into the comments where you can get all of the eligibility requirements and a link to the page where you can apply as well.
Awesome. So we know NMFA, you guys also offer spouse scholarships as well. So can you discuss a little bit about these scholarships, how they can help military spouses, especially those who are PCSing and needs to have more education for their field or need to find a way to revamp themselves altogether because they're now in a new location where their field no longer is possible?
Absolutely. This is one of those things they don't tell you when you get married into the military, what that's going to do to your career hopes, dreams, and plans, right? So you're moving, you're at a new duty station, and a lot of times you can't take your job with you. And a lot of times the opportunities where you're stationed aren't what you want them to be. So military spouses are really good at reinventing themselves, at getting whatever it is that they need to be successful in that new location. But a lot of times what that requires is additional classes, a licensure, a certification. Maybe they need funds for their business. That's something that NMFA does that a lot of other scholarships don't. I think traditionally when people think of a scholarship, it's something that's, to get your bachelor's degree. Here's some financial support for that. But actually what NMFA does is provide that funding for all kinds of different things. You could be getting your PhD. You could be getting your yoga certification. Maybe you're starting a new business and you just need some support getting it off the ground. Those are all things that we provide scholarships for.
Every single time.
I thought we lost you for a minute.
With the mute button.
You were muted, and then I realized I was muted too.
Last week it was Megan. At least one of us, dude. This is COVID land. This is work from home life, man. This is like every day.
I'm with you.
I kind of want to like dive a little bit deeper into this whole scholarship process. So I've heard, you and you even may have heard from spouses. There are some spouses that I've heard that have applied like 10 times for these scholarships, right? And they never get awarded one. And so is there a way that you can maybe tell our audience a little bit more about why that might be and maybe give some guidance on, like what spouses might want to concentrate on while they're applying, like what do you think?
100%. Yes, for sure. I hate to hear that people have applied 10 times, and I hope it's not that many, but I do know that some people have to apply over and over again before they get that scholarship. So last year, we were able to award funding to 872 military spouses, and it was about $950,000 that we awarded last year. I know that sounds like a lot, but that's actually 1/10 of the military spouses who were applying for a scholarship. So for every 10 applicants, we're only able to award one. So it's a very competitive process. I don't have the specifics on why someone did or did not get one, but I'm going to volunteer myself right now because I really hate hearing that someone has applied 2 and 3 times. If there is someone who's watching right now who has been applying, hasn't received funding, and would like me to check out their essay, try to help them figure out maybe what it could be, I know that some of my colleagues that are in the comments would also volunteer to do that same thing because we definitely want to offer that support. It's just very competitive. There's a huge need. And it's something that as an organization, we continue to look for new funding to support. One thing that we are launching this year that I'm really excited about is a partnership with GoDaddy, and that is specifically to help military spouse entrepreneurs. And giving someone funding to support their business is one thing, and it's hugely helpful. But one thing that GoDaddy has also noticed is that military spouses also need some specific tools to help them be successful. And that year 1 through year 3 are extremely critical. So what we're going to be doing with GoDaddy a little bit later this year, we're launching it, is that military spouses who are applying for that entrepreneurial funding will also have the opportunity to take these classes that are all of the things that entrepreneurs need to be a success. Some of the very basic tools, whether it's marketing, social media, and a lot of things that entrepreneurs struggle with, they'll get those classes and they'll get the funding, which leads to a greater chance of success, which is really what we're looking to do.
Word.
Yeah. So, we've kind of talked about it briefly. We know that MJ still volunteers with NMFA. If others want to volunteer, get involved, at what point should a military family connect with NMFA for these different programs, or to just volunteer and help others?
I'd love for you to connect with NMFA every step of the way, because one thing that I know about military life is you a lot of times don't know what's coming until it's already come, and you're trying to figure out what to do with it, right? Whether that's a different move or something that happened with your job or your PCS. And that's also why we have partners like PCS Grades, because we really work together to give that support. One team, one fight. I'm saying it before you even say it, MJ. One team, one fight. And so I would say the earlier, the better. I mean, even a lot of the people who are connected to NMFA are even military fiancés. Maybe there's someone who knows they're going to be a part of the military more long term. So if you check out our website, there's a lot of different ways. There's a get involved, I believe is what the tab says, but they'll put that link in the comments as well. And there's all the different ways that you can get involved, whether it's applying to camp, applying for a scholarship, learning about some of the things that we're advocating for. But then another one that is really, really important is about telling us your story, because the way that we know what's important to military families is because families are telling us that. And so there's a page on our website, we'll put the link there, and there's a list of some of the things that we are currently advocating for. You can check that box, you can add your own story, or if you don't see what you're dealing with listed there, please tell us about that. And there's definitely an opportunity there, and we'll connect with you and try to work on solutions.
Word. And okay, so can you maybe, I just want to kind of dive a bit deeper in the telling of the story, because a lot of times we feel like we're not heard, that, and when you get to that point of super frustration, right, where you're just like, well, nobody's going to listen to me, I can't do anything, who's going to listen to me? So can you give me kind of it's not always going to be immediate assistance, but can you give me an example of why a family might contact you? And feel free to use myself if you prefer.
Well, I'm going to have you tell yours next, but I will say that I have several team members who work at NMFA who work here because of how NMFA was able to help them, whether it was with their child's medical need, whether it was with a scholarship. There are several team members who said, I want to work here because I got that individual support that I needed. We have an amazing government relations team that it's not like you send this email or you make this phone call and it goes into the universe and you never hear from anyone again. They're real humans who will get on the phone with you and help you find those real solutions. They'll make phone calls on the other end. And that's one of the things that I love most, because NMFA, yes, we're a national organization. Yes, we're working on all these high level things, but we really care about the individual. And I just really love that about my colleagues, that they'll take that time, they'll talk to a family about what they're going through and work through the steps to support them. And MJ, please share your story, because I just love it.
No, and and just for the record, this didn't happen because I still have a relationship with NMFA. It happened because I brought it up. I spoke up. So just without going way down the rabbit hole, I'll tell you it's a TRICARE issue, okay? Yeah. So I know I see all of you in my head nodding your heads. Okay, I see this. So, long story short, y'all know I was promoted to a Mimi not that long ago, and my little grandson's father happens to be an airman, right? And so going through that DEERS process and trying to get this kid medical care has been crazy, because guess what? He's in Utah and we're in Virginia. So yeah, so really hard, right? And we're having a really hard time accessing healthcare because of this logistical glitch. So I just happened to mention this the other day to Bessa and Riley, who is also over there in the National Military Family Association. And I am not even kidding you. As I'm still speaking about it and venting, because that's what we do with TRICARE sometimes. She was messaging the government relations department, someone over there, and within seconds, she's like, hey, they're waiting on your phone call. She'd love to help. Can't wait. Like, just like that. Now, will it be like that all the time? No. However, pause for effect. Look at what just happened when you open your mouth and tell your story. So tell your story to NMFA. Whether it's now or later, they can do their darndest to help fix, because they're at a level where they can influence the decision makers with your story.
And you know what, MJ, a lot of times if you're having that issue, there are a lot of other people having that issue that we may not have even heard about yet. And so just starting that conversation, it even lets our team know to start asking that question. Is this something you've dealt with? Do you know someone who's dealt with this? And then it really builds a bigger case for change. Side note for everyone, how is MJ a Mimi? Can we just talk about that? Like, Mimi goals, hashtag. Wait, the hashtag was at the beginning. Hashtag Mimi goals.
Hashtag Mimi goals. First of all, you win the internet today. So there's that. So thank you very much. You just made my day. And I am not only the cool mom, I am now the cool Mimi. So I got another title add to my stash. I love it. Thank you. I kind of want to, because we still have some time, I kind of wanted to discuss a little bit more, maybe about the scholarship process. So you guys, it's year round, right?
It is year round. So one of the things about our scholarship program is it's been something that continuously evolved. It didn't used to be year round. So that might be something that not everyone knows. It used to be that there were 2 times of the year that you could apply for scholarships. And then there were 2 times of the year that those scholarships would be awarded. Well, we know that that's not how military life happens. And so military spouses were like, but I just moved and it's March and I can't wait till June. I need to figure this out now. So NMFA made that change to where scholarships happen when you need them. So it's rolling. And then also that's how we made those additions where we added licensure and certification. Military spouses were telling us this is something we need. Same with entrepreneurship. So again, going back to listening, that is one of the things that NMFA has done well, and what actually drew me to the organization is just that listening and then taking what you're hearing and driving it into action.
No, and you know, that makes perfect sense. You know, and okay, so I'm just loving this engagement really quick. I'm going to throw this up here really quick from Monica Barfield, shout out. And she asked if you could give more info about relicensing and like why credentials aren't always transferred when we move to a new state. And can I just say, NMFA is on it, and then with a comment before I even had a chance to throw it up on the screen. See, this is how we work. So
I don't even have to say anything. They have all the answers. I love my team. They're in the comments with the answers. And let me tell you, we have a lot of partners. This is not something that we're doing alone. In fact, we've been working really closely with Boeing on this issue, with hiring our heroes, and a lot of different organizations that are supporting military spouses. The answer is, I don't know why you're not able to do that, but we have a ton of information on how we're working to change that.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm curious because, you know, I already know so much about NMFA. Big fan. Fangirling over here. What? You have the fact that, I just want to put it out there, everyone, you know, the fact that these organizations like us, like NMFA, that partner with other ones instead of competing, only serve to have power in numbers. And again, it's all to serve us, right? Like, and again, your story matters. And that's kind of how this stuff comes about, right? There was a question that I had and I totally forgot.
Well, I'm going to just jump on what you were saying, which is how we really can't do this without our partners and our friends at other organizations. In fact, even us having this came about because MJ and I started talking about PCSing is the biggest stressor for military families, like biggest. And she even threw some data my way that I hadn't even heard of. So tell me the number. It's worse than deployments, right?
So for service members, it is the number one stressor. And for military spouses, it is the number two stressor. Yeah. Second only to financial hardships, which, let's go ahead and just face it, are tied a lot of the times to PCSing.
Yeah, for sure. So us having that conversation has us working together on how to best support military families during PCS moves. And then also, it's the same. We're also working with MFAN, and they do a ton of research on what's going on with military families. We're working with them on food insecurity. We just have partners throughout this space because, like you said, I'm going to do it again with the fingers. One team, one fight, right, MJ?
Yes. Ooh, I got kill sympathy. We have a question in here, and it is an interesting question because sometimes, this particular demographic gets left out. So Shra, shout out, wanted to know why there isn't more support out there for single military families. She's a single mother and has been in the Air Force for 15 years.
Shra, I would love to connect with you and talk to you more about the ways that NMFA could support you. I know some of my colleagues will probably add something in the comments, but I can tell you that all of the programs that we've talked about, you are eligible for, and we would love to have you and your family as part of Operation Purple or part of our advocacy as well. So please do connect with us. And the other thing I wanted to say is, let's follow each other. So the people on the PCS grades, please check out NMFA. NMFA followers, please check out PCS grades, like the page, and you can see more like this and more helpful information to help you with your PCS move, the schools that your kids are going to attend, all of the different things that come up throughout the year, and especially during this crazy COVID time where we're trying to figure it out again for the first time.
No, word. And so Shara, if you want to message the PCS grades Facebook page, or just, we'll get you in touch with Bessa and with NMFA, so that way you guys can connect and kind of discuss that a little bit more too. And I just wanted to throw this out, just a little shout out for Operation Purple, if you will. Natasha Haas, shout out Natasha. My Purple camp 4 years ago, and it was the best time of her life. Much needed time to just be a kid.
It's awesome. And I can tell you, as a grown-up who has gone to an Operation Purple camp to work or to a healing adventure, it is an awesome, awesome time. The connections that are made there go for life in some cases. In fact, crazy story, a couple of kids who attended Operation Purple camp together years and years ago let us know that they're now married. I mean, things like these connections are real, and it was like a decade later. So, it's just such an important part of military life for kids when they can get away from all the stress and be around kids who just get them. They don't have to explain themselves. They can just have fun and connect with people who get them.
And totally. And we did have another question, I think, from who was it? It was another one from Monica. Shout out, Monica. And they're in there going boom, 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 boom. Can you just say like the eligibility criteria really quick for the Operation Purple family retreats?
Sure. And again, I'm going to get the link in the comments with a more detail, but I can tell you that they're generally there to support families that are within a deployment window, whether that is that someone's just been gone for a while or is about to deploy. It's usually within an 18-month window either way, because a lot of what happens at that family retreat is there to help with that reconnection or helping to prepare for that deployment. So again, we'll put up the link where it has more detailed eligibility requirements, but that's a huge component of it.
Got you. And can I ask really quick too, because And I'm going to link this in a second because, well, here's the thing. As we near the end of this webinar, I don't know if you know this, we have a huge OCONUS following. Unfortunately, the vast majority of them are knocked out right now. And they love us, but not that much. Don't blame you one bit. If you're catching this on the replay, we got you. But so could you tell us a little bit about anything OCONUS related that you might be working on or support those families who are overseas and maybe, due to the time difference can't access
Yeah.
these resources.
No, absolutely. I can tell you actually Operation Purple at Home, which is the virtual camp program, we thought really hard about timing for that because like you said, people are asleep. And so basically we made that during a time of day where families in everywhere from Hawaii to Japan and everywhere in between could attend in some capacity, because I would say in a lot of cases, those Oconus families need that connection even more. They're away from the United States, of all of the things that they know, and this is a way to stay connected with the community.
Word. And so I really love that you took that into consideration, because there's, just as well as I do, there are a lot of, the reserve and guard sometimes feel left out, or the Oconus fams sometimes, and then single mill fams, they're there. The resources are virtually the same. They'll just have a little bit different dynamic across the board, whether that's an official federal resource or through our nonprofits like NMFA.
You just reminded me of something that I definitely wanted to share on here when you talked about National Guard and Reservist families. We have Facebook groups that are specifically for those families. They're two separate groups. We also have a Facebook group for military spouses who are nurses, teachers, mental health professionals. So there's these different groups because there's the stuff that is the same for all military families, and that's that overarching follow us on NMFA stuff. But a lot of things that you might go through if you're in a certain career path, or if you're a reserve family or a guard family, are kind of different. So you might want to connect with families who get that. So you should look for those groups and join them.
Word. And the reason I brought up our Oconus fans, aside from the fact that they're awesome, catch the replay, is because sometimes they get left out of the tune-in to win prizes. So occasionally, probably about once a month, what we do is we save a round and we go 24 hours, and then we go into that 24-hour mark and we see all of the questions, comments, or concerns from our Oconus peeps, shout out, and we give them the opportunity to include their names in the Wheel of Names. So I think that we're going to do that. And this time around, I think that we're going to wait until the 24-hour mark tomorrow to choose that name and do the Wheel of Names. And the reason for that is because this is one of those times where having a real life resource like this inbox subscription, or having it's universal and we can pass it on overseas. I am so more than willing to pay the shipping for that. I don't care. You know what I mean? And so I want to be able to keep our Oconus peeps in the mix and put their names in the hat. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that drawing tomorrow.
I got you. And we'll pay shipping too. We're all for it. We love our Oconus families. So I love that idea. And I hope you're all sleeping soundly right now and watching this much, much, much later.
Right, way later, right? Grab your coffee /wine /whatevs, bev of choice, if you will. And then just before we go, I'm going to get a little personal with you, Bessa, because we like to get personal up in here with the shenanigans. I want you to tell me what was your biggest challenge as a mill spouse, and what was your biggest, I guess, the best thing about being a mill spouse.
Okay. Man, you put me on the spot. You didn't tell me this was coming. It's good. It's good. I actually will say that for me, the best part about being a military spouse is the community and the friends that I've made and continue to make along the way. There are no better cheerleaders, boosters, people who will be there for you and answer your call at 2 a.m. and do anything for you than military spouse. So that is the best thing that I would say I inherited through being a military spouse. The hardest thing I will say was actually the transition out. MJ, you can probably relate to this, but when my husband got out of the military, we literally went through a what are we doing with our lives? I want to say moment, but it was more like a 2 years. And so it was a really long moment, and we figured it out and we found our way. But I will say that was a tough one for me.
No, and they say, just for the record, for those of you who've experienced a deployment or other type of transition, so they would say, I was a readiness and deployment support trainer back in the day. So I used to say that the deployment isn't over when people get home. we got this reintegration thing we got to kind of throw into the mix. Well, transitioning from the military is sort of like one long reintegration. And I just want to rip the Band-Aid off and tell all of you right now to be prepared. I'm not saying it's going to be this long, but to be prepared for your reintegration process to last 1 to 3 years. That seems to be the unofficial, anecdotal, general consensus. From what I've heard, just from others' experiences. And because, okay, here's an example. I'm going to tell you an example. My kids, they always come to me for stuff because I was the one that was always home, right? Okay. So then now dad's here. Okay, cool. And all of a sudden he's all up in their business looking at their grades and this, that, and the other. And they're like, what is this? Why is this happening? He could be standing right there. Well, they'll walk right past him to ask me for something. I was in another state, in another time zone. And my son called me and said, Mom, I'm hungry. And I'm like, oh, okay. Where's your dad? He's on the couch. And I'm like, I'm not even in the same state as you right now. Like, go ask your dad. What? Are you serious? So it's little things like that. And it made my husband feel like, hi, I live here, sort of. You know, I'm here like now. So can you just like, he felt some type of way about it. But that's just one little piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. For me, it was the jobs. It was, I'm not going to tell you how many jobs between the two of us we had within that 2-year period, because it was a lot of like, I think we're going to do this. No, I think we're going to do this. Well, maybe we're living with your parents. No, maybe we're getting this house and renovating. It was a lot of figuring it out. And I don't think at the time that I even realized it was all related to this big transition out of the military. It was just we're having a hard time right now. And so that is one other time where I would love for people to come to NMFA for support and resources, because we definitely understand that.
Yeah, see everything you have to look forward to, Megan? Aren't you so excited?
I feel like, though, so with where we're living at now, it's considered a remote assignment. We don't have the big military community, that we normally have at our big military installations. And this is our second time being at one of these remote assignments. So part of me feels like I'm already kind of prepared to going back to that civilian life, because we've been in those remote assignments twice. But I definitely, I dread about losing the military community, losing my I'm not going to lose my military friends, but just,
don't lose it.
Yeah,
No, I'm going to tell you the same thing that Chris
involved as much, because we're not PCSing again from one big installation to another installation or to another place, and so not having having my PWOC group and living wherever, and not having my family readiness group and living wherever, and not having my spouses club group, and so it's that missing my community piece that part of me dreads a little bit, because it's just like I have to interact with civilians now who don't understand what we've just done for the past 20 some years.
Except, and I'm just going to call you out on this, because you're not the only one. No, seriously, we as spouses, the more involved we are in the military community during our husbands' careers or wives for that matter, the more involved we are, the harder it is to leave. And you kind of feel like you're left with nothing, like you don't belong anywhere. You have a mini identity crisis. But at the same time, I invested my entire education and career to my community. So guess what? My husband can retire all he wants. I'm not going anywhere.
So very true. And same Z's over here. That's why we're all still working in this military support space and community, because we just love the support that it provides us, and we want to give it back to others as well. So Megan, you're not going anywhere. You can go somewhere, but you're not going anywhere. You're still here. You're still with us.
I'll stay as long as people will allow me to stay and be a part of it.
They've let me stay a long time, so I feel like same.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love this. See, people, this is what community looks like, live and in living color. And I'm just going to throw this out there for all of you, including those on the replay. So we've been considering doing a kind of like a PCS Q&A after dark at some point. We're still thinking about it. We're still chatting about it. I'm not sure y'all can handle me after 5 p.m.
Will there be wine?
Oh, will there ever? But then again, when isn't there?
Yeah, I'm coming to this.
Oh, it's happening. Okay, Megan, you and I got some work to do, girlfriend. We're this is happening. This is happening.
Right.
So, okay, well, I just want to thank you, Bessa, so much for coming on. Anybody who's watching the replay, everybody who's commented in with all of their questions and concerns, I want you to know that all of the links that have been dropped by the awesome team over at NMFA, aka the National Military Family Association, because we love our acronyms, they've been awesome, and they want your stories. They want to hear from you. They want to connect with you. So open your mouth, have your voice heard, and help make some change just by being you. So thank you again, Bessa.
Thank you so much. I love you guys. I love PCS grades. I'm so glad we were able to do this. And I know that in the very near future, you'll be seeing MJ's face over on our page doing some fun thing that will be kind of like this, but a little bit different too.
I'll be a little bit more. I will. I
you?
promise. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Stand by. TBD. Megan, as always, thank you so much. I love having you as my co-host over here. I couldn't do what I do without you, girlfriend. And until next time.
Oh, this too shall PCS.
Bye, everybody.